In a world where everyone is desperate to be liked, most people weaken themselves without knowing it. They smile too much, they agree too often, and they mistake kindness for strength. But history has never been written by those who wanted to be liked. It has been written by those who demanded respect. Today, we turn to the wisdom of Niccolò Machiavelli to uncover why being liked is a trap and why respect is the true foundation of lasting power. You want to be liked. It feels good when people smile at you, when they nod in agreement, when they shower you with words of approval. But do not mistake that warm feeling for power. Do not confuse affection with strength, because the truth that most will never tell you, is that being liked is the weakest currency in the marketplace of power. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He saw how princes, kings, and leaders who sought to be liked were inevitably destroyed. Why? Because likeness is unstable. It depends on the emotions of others, and emotions are like the wind, shifting, fickle, impossible to hold in your hand. One day you are adored, the next you are despised. A crowd that cheers your name at sunrise may be calling for your blood by nightfall. To live by being liked is to live at the mercy of others. You hand them your strength, and in return, you receive nothing but temporary comfort. They like you when it benefits them. They like you when you give them what they want. But the moment your usefulness ends, their liking dies. And what are you left with? Nothing. You become replaceable, forgettable, discarded. Think carefully. Have you ever noticed how people treat those who are desperate for approval? They smile at them. Yes. They may even pat them on the back. But behind closed doors, they mock them. They see them as weak, as malleable, as someone who will bend and break just to stay in good favor. And the truth is, people do not respect what they can bend. They respect only what resists. Machiavelli teaches us that respect is not built on being liked. It is built on necessity. A leader who is liked may be charming, but a leader who is respected is indispensable. Respect comes not because people want you, but because they need you. They may not smile at you. They may not invite you to their dinners, but they will not dare to ignore you. Respect roots you deep into the ground. Likeness keeps you floating in the air, waiting for the next storm to blow you away. And let me ask you, what has being liked ever truly earned you? Has it shielded you from betrayal? Has it stopped people from gossiping behind your back? Has it ever guaranteed loyalty? The answer is no. History shows us again and again. The men and women who lived to be liked were swallowed whole by their need for approval. They became prisoners of public opinion. Their actions were dictated not by strategy, but by fear of losing affection. They served others, instead of commanding them. But those who chose respect over likeness, those were the ones who endured. A prince feared, yet respected, can lose popularity but still hold his throne. A leader respected, though not loved, cannot be swept aside when the crowd finds a new favorite. Respect ties people to you because they cannot afford to let you go. Understand this distinction. Likeness is shallow. It is based on charm, flattery, and the temporary warmth of personality. But respect runs deep. It is carved from discipline, authority, and consequence. To be liked, you only need to give people what they want in the moment. To be respected, you must show them that without you, their world collapses. And yet, most people will choose the path of being liked. Why? Because it is easier. Because it feels safe. Because being liked means you don't have to face conflict. You avoid offense, you avoid criticism, you avoid confrontation. But in truth, that path only delays your downfall. You cannot hide behind smiles forever. The day will come when those smiles vanish, and when they do, the person who built their life on being liked has nothing left to stand on. Machiavelli knew this well. He advised rulers to pursue fear over love, but more importantly, to anchor their authority in respect. He observed the rulers who gave too much mercy, who softened their edges, who tried to be loved by the masses, and he recorded their failure. The crowd devoured them. The court betrayed them. Their likeness vanished, and with it, their power. Think of your own life. Perhaps you believe that being liked will open doors for you. But what kind of doors are those? They are the doors of convenience, not the gates of real influence. People will like you when it is easy, but they will respect you only when it is costly to oppose you. And when respect is built, it creates a fortress around you, unshakable, immovable. So here is the Machiavellian truth. If you spend your life chasing to be liked, you will remain forever in the hands of others. Your image will not be your own. It will be shaped by their whims. But if you build respect, you place yourself beyond the fragility of their approval. You become a necessity, a figure they cannot erase, no matter how much they may dislike you. A man who is merely liked is fragile. His power rests not on solid ground, but on the shifting sands of affection. People like him today, but tomorrow they will like another. They smile at him now, but soon they will smile at someone more charming, more entertaining, more agreeable. Likeness is fleeting. It does not bind. It does not hold. It floats like smoke in the air, beautiful for a moment but quickly lost. Respect, on the other hand, commands stability. It anchors you in place like stone. To be respected means you are not judged by passing moods or temporary affections. It means you are recognized as necessary, as unshakable, as someone who cannot be ignored regardless of who enters the stage. Think carefully about how people behave toward those they merely like. They treat them as an option. They enjoy their presence when it is convenient. They use them when it is easy, but they abandon them the moment something better comes along. In politics, in business, in friendships, even in families. The liked one is replaceable. They hold no real weight because people feel no obligation toward them. But when you are respected, the rules change. Respect creates obligation. It forces people to treat you not as an option, but as a necessity. Even if they do not enjoy you, even if they do not wish to be around you, they cannot dismiss you. You become like a wall they cannot climb, like a foundation they cannot dig out. They must move around you, adjust to you, and consider you in every calculation. This is why rulers who are liked often fall swiftly, while rulers who are respected endure. A ruler who is liked may win temporary affection, but when the people grow restless, when a rival stirs up the crowd, when famine or crisis strikes, that affection evaporates. But a ruler who is respected is harder to move. People may grumble, they may whisper, but they know the consequences of rebellion. They know the strength of the authority before them, and so order remains. Niccolò Machiavelli saw this in Florence, in Rome, across the fractured lands of Italy. He saw how rulers who sought only love were cast aside, and he saw how rulers who secured respect through discipline, fear, and necessity outlasted storms that would have destroyed weaker men. Respect created stability even in chaos. Now consider your own life. Imagine two leaders in the same room. The first is charming, always laughing, always agreeing, always trying to be liked. People enjoy him, but they do not fear losing him. The second leader may not be as warm. His words are sharp, his presence commanding. He does not bend to please. People may not like him, but they respect him deeply. Who do you think survives longer in that room? When conflict arises, whose voice will carry weight? Whose authority will remain when the laughter fades? Respect outlasts charm because it is rooted in necessity. People like those who make them feel good. They respect those they cannot afford to lose. And here lies the dark truth: people do not respect what is easy. They do not respect what bends too quickly. They respect what resists them, what disciplines them, what forces them to acknowledge strength. Even in the smallest matters, you can see this truth. A parent who tries only to be liked by their children raises weak, disobedient offspring. But a parent who insists on respect through consistency, rules, and authority raises stability in the household. In the workplace, a boss who wants to be liked is walked over, while a boss who commands respect is obeyed. In society, the entertainer is liked, but the lawgiver is respected. And when the dust settles, it is the respected one who still stands, while the liked one fades into memory. This is the stability respect brings. It does not sway with moods. It does not crumble when someone more attractive appears. It does not vanish when comfort ends. Respect locks people in place. It makes them hesitate before turning away. It forces them to measure their steps. Even when they do not like you, they must reckon with you. Machiavelli was blunt about this: to govern, to lead, to endure. You cannot rely on love. Love breaks too easily. Respect does not. Love is given freely, and so it is taken back freely. Respect is earned through strength, and once secured, it chains people to you whether they wish it or not. Respect creates an invisible wall around you. People may not approach you with affection, but they approach you with caution. They may not speak your praises openly, but they measure their words in your presence. They may not always smile, but they will not dare to cross the line you have drawn. And that stability, that fear of consequence combined with recognition of necessity, is what keeps you in power when others fall. Machiavelli drew one of the sharpest distinctions in the history of power. It is safer to be feared than loved, but never hated. Fear, when properly cultivated, becomes the foundation of respect. Hatred, however, is poison. It breeds conspiracy, rebellion, and the silent plotting of knives in the dark. To command respect, you must learn the delicate art of inspiring fear without crossing into the territory of hatred. Fear is not cruelty for cruelty's sake. It is not chaos. It is not mindless punishment. Fear is order. Fear is clarity. It is the silent agreement that people must think twice before crossing you. It does not require shouting. It does not require bloodshed at every turn. It requires consistency, consequence, and the demonstration that your will cannot be ignored. People do not respect what they can disobey without penalty. They do not respect a leader who makes threats but never enforces them. They do not respect someone whose authority can be questioned without repercussion. But when you establish fear correctly, they pause, they calculate. They understand that disobedience carries a cost they are unwilling to pay. That pause, that hesitation is where respect lies. But hatred is different. Hatred festers. When people hate you, they do not simply hesitate, they plot. They unite against you. They whisper behind your back, and those whispers grow into daggers. Hatred does not simply fear consequence. It seeks revenge, no matter the cost. This is why Machiavelli insisted be feared, yes, but never be hated. The key is balance. Fear must come from justice, from discipline, from necessity, not from reckless cruelty. When you punish, you must punish with reason. When you enforce rules, you must enforce them consistently. If you destroy a rival, it must appear not as blind rage, but as a calculated act to preserve order. People can accept strictness if they see it as necessary for stability, but they will despise you if they see it as vanity, sadism, or personal vengeance. Think of a commander leading soldiers. If he tries to be loved, his orders will be ignored. His soldiers will relax, disobey, mock him behind his back. But if he commands with firmness, if his punishments are certain and his discipline unwavering, he creates fear, and that fear produces loyalty. His men may not love him, but they will march for him, they will fight for him, because they know the consequences of disobedience. And yet, if he humiliates them, if he punishes without fairness, if he strips them of dignity, they will come to hate him, and hatred in the army is death for a commander. In politics, the same rule applies. A ruler who inspires fear through law, discipline, and justice is respected. People may grumble, they may dislike him, but they do not dare rise against him. A ruler who inspires hatred through humiliation, greed, and excess, however, creates enemies within his own walls. Hatred corrodes the very foundation of authority until it collapses from within. Even in your personal life, the principle remains true. If you are only liked, people will use you. They will test your limits. They will cross your boundaries, and they will discard you when convenient. But if you cultivate respect through a controlled form of fear, they tread carefully. They measure their words. They respect your space. And yet, if you push too far, if you humiliate, if you take joy in cruelty, you transform fear into hatred. And hatred ensures they will seek to harm you when the opportunity arises. So how do you master this balance? By controlling your image. Appear harsh when enforcing rules, but measured in your delivery. Be unyielding in consequence, but not excessive. When you punish, punish swiftly and decisively, but let the punishment serve as a lesson, not as an indulgence in cruelty. When you withhold, withhold with reason. When you demand loyalty, make it clear that betrayal carries cost, but also that loyalty brings stability and reward. Machiavelli understood that respect is not born from affection. It is born from necessity and the awareness of consequence. Fear shapes behavior more reliably than love. Love is voluntary, it comes and goes, it fades when someone else appears more appealing. But fear is constant, because people always calculate risk. They always remember what happened to the last person who crossed you. And yet, if you allow that fear to drift into humiliation, into oppression, into needless cruelty, you cross the line, you become hated. And once hatred forms, it is nearly impossible to erase. Hatred unites the weak against the strong. Hatred turns small grievances into rebellion. Hatred makes betrayal not only tempting, but necessary in the eyes of those who suffer under it. Fear without hatred makes you untouchable. Fear with hatred makes you a marked man. Respect lives in this razor-thin balance. Too soft, and you are liked but not respected. Too cruel, and you are feared but despised. The master of power is the one who can walk this line, who can wield fear like a sculptor wields a chisel, cutting away weakness, shaping obedience, without shattering the stone into rubble. Niccolò Machiavelli warned that excessive mercy is not a virtue but a danger. To be overly nice, to constantly forgive, to always bend in the hope of pleasing others, is to place a knife directly in your own back. Mercy without limits breeds betrayal. Keenness without boundaries breeds contempt. The harsh truth is this: if you wish to protect yourself, your position, and your power, you must be ruthless when the moment demands it. People admire kindness only when it costs them nothing. They praise your gentleness, they applaud your generosity, but deep inside, they are calculating. They are asking, how far can we push this person before they break? And if you are too nice, too merciful, they will push until you collapse. They will take advantage of you again and again because you have taught them that there are no consequences for crossing you. Look at history. A prince who forgives every insult is seen as weak. A ruler who spares every traitor teaches his court that betrayal carries no price. And once people believe they can defy you without punishment, your authority is finished. Niceness is applauded in public, but it is despised in private. People respect only what stands firm, what enforces order, what does not tolerate treachery. Ruthlessness is not cruelty for cruelty's sake. It is not about bloodlust or savagery. It is about survival. It is about sending a clear message: your generosity has limits, your patience has boundaries, and when those lines are crossed, the cost will be unbearable. This is why Machiavelli argued that harshness at the right moment prevents greater chaos in the future. To punish one traitor severely is to prevent 10 betrayals tomorrow. To cut off corruption quickly is to save the entire body from rot. Niceness, on the other hand, often delays conflict but multiplies it later. When you are too nice, when you refuse to confront betrayal, when you try to maintain harmony by overlooking disrespect, you do not solve the problem, you feed it. The insult grows bolder, the betrayer grows stronger, and soon, what could have been dealt with easily becomes impossible to control. Think of the general who refuses to punish a disobedient soldier. He spares him out of mercy, perhaps out of fear of being disliked. But what happens next? The other soldiers see this mercy as weakness. They test the limits. Discipline collapses. The army rots from within. One small act of misplaced kindness destroys an entire command. But the general who is ruthless, who punishes swiftly, ensures discipline. The soldiers may not love him, but they will march for him, fight for him, and fear betraying him. Even in your personal life, the lesson is the same. If you are too nice, you invite exploitation. People will borrow and never repay. They will disrespect your time, your presence, your loyalty. And because you fear being disliked, you allow it. You smile, you forgive, you say, "It's fine," when it is not fine. But with every act of unchecked niceness, you sink lower in their estimation. You are no longer seen as strong. You are seen as soft, pliable, easy to manipulate. Niceness without ruthlessness transforms you into a doormat. Ruthlessness restores balance. It draws lines in the sand that cannot be crossed. It teaches people that your mercy is not guaranteed, that your generosity is not endless, that there is a cost for taking advantage of you. People may not always like this, but they will respect it. They may even grumble in private, but in their hearts, they will know you are not someone to be toyed with. Machiavelli understood that leadership is not about pleasing everyone. The leader who tries to please all soon pleases none. He becomes stretched thin, torn apart by conflicting demands, constantly compromising until he is nothing. But the leader who is willing to be ruthless, who is willing to say no, who is willing to strike when necessary, maintains authority. His reputation becomes unshakable because people know he is capable of severity. To rule, whether over a kingdom, a company, or even your own household, you must show that there are consequences for disobedience, consequences that are real, painful, and swift. Without them, your words are empty. Your promises are hollow. Your power is nothing more than decoration. Ruthlessness ensures your words carry weight. It makes people pause before disrespecting you. It forces them to consider the price of betrayal. And here is the paradox most never understand: true stability often comes not from constant niceness, but from the strategic use of ruthlessness. People may complain about a harsh leader, but secretly they are comforted by the stability his ruthlessness provides. They know where the boundaries lie. They know what to expect. They know chaos will not be tolerated. But under a nice leader, they feel the ground shift beneath them. They do not know what will be overlooked today and punished tomorrow. Niceness breeds confusion. Ruthlessness breeds clarity. Machiavelli did not flatter mankind with illusions. He knew what most people secretly understand, but refuse to admit. The truth matters far less than appearances. The masses do not look into your soul. They do not study your motives. They do not examine your intentions with precision. They see only what you show them, and they judge you not by what you are, but by what you appear to be. This is why those who obsess over being genuine often fail, while those who master appearances rise. People crave illusions. They are drawn to symbols, to gestures, to the theater of strength. A leader may be corrupt, but if he appears decisive, if he appears confident, if he projects power, people will follow him. A man may be weak in private, but if he walks into a room with composure, with silence, with the aura of control, others will bow to him. Reality is irrelevant to the crowd. What matters is the mask you wear. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler must learn how not to be good, and yet appear good at all times. The appearance of virtue is more valuable than virtue itself. To appear merciful, to appear faithful, to appear generous, to appear just. This is what secures the loyalty of the people. But to actually be merciful at all times, or just at all times, or generous at all times, would destroy you. Because there will come moments when survival requires the opposite. And when that moment comes, you must be ruthless in action, but still virtuous in appearance. Consider how people speak of their leaders. They rarely say, "is truly moral." Instead, they say, "he looks strong," "who seems wise," "he appears trustworthy." Their judgments are built on perception, not on substance. This is why appearances must be guarded more carefully than the truth. If the truth is ugly, but the appearance is beautiful, you will endure. If the truth is noble, but the appearance is weak, you will be crushed. Think of a lion in the wild. It may be wounded, hungry, even close to death. But as long as it stands tall, as long as it roars with strength, the other animals hesitate. They see not the truth of its weakness, but the appearance of its power. And in that illusion lies survival. A ruler, a leader, an individual must be the same. Even in moments of doubt, even in moments of weakness, you must project an image that commands respect. Your silence, your gestures, your presence, these are the tools of appearances. If you reveal too much, if you expose every doubt, if you confess every fear, you hand your enemies a map to destroy you. But if you control your face, if you master your tone, if you project calm while chaos rages within, no one will see the cracks. Appearances build a fortress stronger than walls. Do not mistake this for deception in the petty sense. It is not about lying needlessly. It is about the theater of power. Every leader is an actor on a stage, and the audience sees only what the performance reveals. Some leaders fail because they refuse to act. They think raw honesty is strength. They strip themselves bare before the crowd, showing weakness, insecurity, vulnerability. And then they wonder why the people turn against them. The answer is simple: the truth, naked and unguarded, inspires neither loyalty nor respect. It inspires pity at best and contempt at worst. The powerful understand this. They craft their image as carefully as a painter crafts a portrait. They wear clothing that signals authority. They speak words that suggest wisdom. They master silence, for silence itself creates an aura of mystery. They let others see only fragments, never the whole picture. And in this controlled image, they create the illusion of invincibility. Machiavelli emphasized that it is not necessary to have all the virtues, but it is very necessary to appear to have them. Why? Because people judge quickly, and their judgments shape reality. If you appear just, people will follow you as though you were just. If you appear strong, people will obey as though you were strong. Appearances create belief, and belief becomes reality. And here lies the cruel irony. Those who chase authenticity, who believe that truth alone will protect them, are consumed by those who mastered appearances. History remembers not those who were honest in silence, but those who projected greatness, even if their private lives were filled with flaws. Caesar, Alexander, Napoleon all understood the power of appearances. They appeared larger than life, almost divine. Did the people know their weaknesses? Perhaps. But what mattered was the image, and that image made them immortal. In your own life, appearances decide more than you think. In your work, people will judge you first not by your skill, but by how you present yourself. In relationships, they will see your composure or your desperation before they ever consider your sincerity. In power, they will measure your aura before your actions. The truth is too complicated, too hidden, too distant. Appearances are immediate. They strike the eye, they grip the mind, they shape the heart. This is why you must discipline yourself to guard your image. Do not show every emotion. Do not reveal every weakness. Do not think that honesty will protect you. Craft yourself as a weapon of appearances. Let people see what you want them to see. Let them believe what strengthens your position. Let them admire, respect, and even fear you. Not because of what you are, but because of what you appear to be. Respect has a weight that love cannot carry. Love, when stripped of its illusions, is fragile, dependent on moods, on desires, on convenience. People love you when you entertain them, when you agree with them, when you give them what they want. But love shifts with the winds of self-interest. Respect, on the other hand, is carved into the stone of memory. It is not about fleeting affection, but about the mark you leave on people's minds. When you command respect, even your absence is powerful. When you are loved, your absence breeds resentment. Machiavelli teaches us that rulers, leaders, and those who seek power must never confuse the two. Love is granted by choice. Respect is earned through force of character, consistency, and strength. A leader who builds his foundation on love is building upon sand. For when the storm arrives, that love will wash away. But the one who builds on respect creates a fortress. Even enemies will acknowledge him. They may plot against him, they may curse his name, but they cannot deny his strength. That is the enduring difference between being liked and being respected. Think of history's greatest figures. Julius Caesar was adored by the Roman people, but that adoration did not stop daggers from piercing his flesh. His popularity with the crowd was meaningless when the Senate lost respect for him. On the other hand, men like Alexander, feared yet admired, carved their names into eternity. The world did not simply love Alexander, it respected him so deeply that centuries later, his name still embodies conquest, vision, and unshakable will. Respect is what echoes long after your voice falls silent. You must ask yourself, what legacy are you leaving behind? If you chase love, your legacy will be one of softness. People will remember you as pleasant, agreeable, perhaps even kind, but they will not remember you as powerful. They will not measure themselves against your strength. They will not whisper your name with awe. They will not hesitate to erase you, because in the end, those who are merely loved are disposable. But if you choose respect, you place yourself in the rare category of individuals who shape the destiny of others. You may not be loved by all, but you will be remembered by all. Respect transforms even in your absence. When you walk into a room, respect commands silence. When you leave the room, it leaves a void. People think twice before crossing a respected man, even when he is not there to defend himself. Love cannot do that. Love makes people bold, entitled, careless with your presence. They think they own you because you gave them affection. Respect makes people cautious, strategic, measured in their dealings with you. That is the invisible shield respect provides. Another truth lies within this: love can be faked, but respect cannot. A smile can mask resentment. A hug can hide betrayal. Sweet words can disguise envy, but respect is not given lightly. It is forged in fire, through trials, through discipline, through the display of qualities that even your enemies cannot deny. That is why respect lasts longer than affection. It is not dependent on someone's feelings, but on undeniable recognition of your strength. You can make people pretend to love you, but you cannot make them pretend to respect you without earning it. And this is why the pursuit of being liked is one of the most dangerous weaknesses. If you spend your life wanting to be liked, you will compromise, you will bend, you will flatter, and in doing so, you will lose the very essence of what makes people take you seriously. You will trade away your strength piece by piece until there is nothing left to respect. But the one who values respect above all else never bends for approval. He shapes approval around his own strength. Respect also survives betrayal. A man who once loved you can turn on you with hatred that burns even hotter than the love he once showed. But a man who respects you may turn against you, yet he will not underestimate you. He will not dismiss you as weak. He will not forget your power. That, paradoxically, protects you even in hostility. When they respect you, they tread carefully, even as they oppose you. That is far more valuable than their temporary love. Look at how rulers throughout history fell. Those who sought love became prisoners of it. They had to maintain the illusions, the smiles, the generosity, to keep the love alive. But those who ruled by respect stood apart. They were not enslaved by people's emotions, for respect is not about pleasing. It is about commanding. Respect makes you unmovable. Love makes you vulnerable. In the end, the legacy of respect is eternal. It transcends personal charm. It transcends charisma. It transcends the shallow currents of affection. When you are respected, your name becomes a force that outlives you. It moves people even after your death. It makes others say, This was a man not to be taken lightly. And that is the ultimate victory, not fleeting applause, not fragile admiration, but the immortal recognition that you were a figure of strength, a person whose shadow continues to influence the world long after the flesh has turned to dust. Conclusion: stop being liked. Unlock respect so now you see the truth. Being liked is a weak foundation, a shallow currency that evaporates when tested by time, envy, or betrayal. To chase love is to chain yourself to the whims of others, to beg for approval that can be withdrawn the moment you are no longer useful. But respect is iron. It is not given easily, yet once earned, it binds people to acknowledge your strength, even against their will. Machiavelli reminds us that the powerful man is not the one adored by all, but the one remembered, feared, and respected by all. Love dies with your absence, but respect endures. Love makes people careless with you. Respect makes them cautious. Love makes you easy to replace. Respect makes you impossible to ignore. Your choice, then, is simple: continue to live as someone liked, pleasant, and forgettable, or embrace the harder path, the path of respect, where your presence commands silence, your name inspires weight, and your legacy outlives your life.